So this week we're talking about fans and the sports community. I think I see the sports community as a dedicated community to leisure activity, which is watching and even playing sports. The sports community makes billions of dollars just from entertaining people by playing a game that they love to play. I think a sports fan is someone who enjoys watching and following a team, player, or even a sport. They usually buy the team's merchandise and know the history of their favorite player, maybe, and their favorite team for really dedicated fans. But I don't think you have to actually know the stats and know the history to be a sports fan. Just you physically watching a team, supporting a team, can consider you as a sports fan. I think fan culture in the United States is more of just like defending your favorite team or just repping your favorite team and supporting your favorite team or even players. Most people like to just follow players rather than teams. For most sports, they usually just watch every game if you're a really dedicated fan and have the time to actually watch a game or go see a game in person. An example I feel of a good fan base are the Green Bay Packers. In the book it talks about how like the Green Bay Packers have a sellout game every year, no matter how the team is doing. Um, they're good fans because they're very dedicated to the Packers and their loyalty. They're loyal to the Packers. Green Bay Packers usually, for most Green Bay Packers fans, they usually dress in maybe like a Green Bay Packers shirt, or they even like to wear their cheese heads. That's considered the cheese heads. I think there can be two definitions of a not so good fan. A not so good fan base can be a loyalty to a fan base. For example, the Sacramento Kings, they have not so good fan base because they don't really see a lot of fans at their game. They always have record lows as far as like the league of how many people attend their games. So they don't really have a loyal fan base, and I think that is a lot because of how the team plays, but also because of the how close a team like the Warriors are, and the Warriors actually have successful seasons. I think fans are usually expected to like the team that they're closest to. Like if you live in Chicago, you're expected to like the Chicago Bears. But that's not always the case. Lots of people like teams that are outside of the city that they live in. A not so good fan base can also be considered crazy fans. In an article I read in the Bleacher Report, it discusses how in Los Angeles it is common to see riots after the Lakers games, especially if they win against one of their rival teams. I think sports fans should be able to defend their favorite teams. I think that's the fun in sports, being able to defend what team that you feel is best. Dedicated sports fans usually just defend their teams with just stats or even explaining to people why they think their team is better. And in like a debate or just a conversation. I think crossing the line is when your defending has to get physical, or even torching and rioting cities because their favorite team won a game. I think that's crossing the line. Hooliganism is way worse than Wild fans in America. I feel like hooliganism is kind of like an organized gang. They defend what they love through violence. It win and lose. Like even if their team win or lose, it's still going to be violence after the games. I think a Wild fan in America may become physical with other fans during or after a game, but with hooliganism, it's groups of fans becoming violent at one time. I think hooliganism should not be considered real fans. I think most of the hooligans are violent just to be violent, not for the actual love and of the team or the sport. I'm sure team players and owners don't really want their fans to be this wild and crazy over them. Hooliganism doesn't really help the team's appearance or just the finances of the team in general. It only harms the team and the sport reputation.